The following is an EHC media production.
Hey guys, this is Mike Larkin, podcaster and now soon to be owner of TalkingWrestling.com. That's right, it's TalkingWrestling.com. Check it out on Facebook, TalkingWrestling.com. Website is under construction, it's going to be soon out there, and the premise behind TalkingWrestling.com is I'm a guy who loves professional wrestling, and this is a site for all professional wrestling fans, and I've been blessed to work with a lot of great people. Max Wrestling Podcast, RWT, Impact Bodega, The Heelcast, the whole nine. So you're going to see a lot of content shared on the Facebook page, TalkingWrestling.com. My interviews with the likes of Amber Nova, Jimmy Rave, Casey Lennox, Brian Pillman Jr., etc., etc. You got Max Wrestling Podcast going to be shared there, RWT, Heelcast, Impact Bodega, etc., etc. The goal is to accentuate these podcasts. It's a website coming soon for all wrestling fans. But first and foremost, check out Facebook.com, TalkingWrestling.com. You won't be disappointed. More details coming soon. It's an exciting time for professional wrestling, and it's going to be an exciting site and overall experience for all individuals involved, and just to share a lot of great content for a lot of great wrestling fans. Check it out, Facebook.com/TalkingWrestling.com. Website coming soon. Thank you all very much.
Hi everyone, Ibeza here, and just want to let you know about my two YouTube channels that you might like. First, I have a WWE related channel. I play WWE games, I talk about WWE, the real product and all that sort of stuff. And the other channel, I just play a wider variety of games. The links are in the description of this video, so please head on over and check me out. Thanks very much.
The Max Wrestling Promo Championship returns this November at Promo Series 3.
The warning was given. Make sure your windows are locked and your doors are shut. The butcher can get in. He will get in. You, my friend, have been chosen. You should have kept everyone safe.
All paths lead to this point. Throughout this year I've beaten heroes, yes men, legends, and there's only one left, and that's you. You're not looking to beat Lesnar, you're looking for someone to end you. I'll do what Lesnar should have done 2 years ago, and that is put a shotgun to the back of Old Yellow's head and pull the trigger.
For years I have watched legends come and go, and now it is time to make my mark. The nuclear war is coming, and trust me, you're gonna get front row seats. And bring your gas mask, because it's gonna be toxic.
The time has come. The path of the butcher is over.
And then came the storm that threatened to ruin everything. The Butcher versus Tony Kirkendall.
Trust me. I know my shit. I analyze, I watch, and I predict. And at the end of it, do you know what I'm gonna say? I told you so.
No need for introduction. You know who I am. Seems to be there's someone who is dying for my attention.
It's an amazing rivalry that was producing a lot of super awesome promos, and I was like, oh, this is so exciting. And then those guys tried to kill each other. Love you both, by the way. And then one day later, they somehow become like a tag team and start taking on all these other guys.
The butcher is gonna slay and maim, put you on my wall, wrap this bitch up, go home, pod promo champion.
And the Promo Climax tournament will begin in 2 weeks to determine the new champion. So if you think you can pick up the mic and cut like a machete, get in touch with us, or indeed with Amir on RWT. You know where to find us at Max Wrestling UK.
What's going on, RWT? This is Mike Larkin, and this is episode 9 of The Future Is Now, a 205 Live that featured Tornado Tag Team action, a NXT that featured a lot of recaps, and a UK Championship rematch from the United Kingdom Tournament final between Pete Dunne and Zach Gibson for the UK Championship. All another solid in-ring action as far as both NXT and 205 Live go. There's going to be some news, I will fair warn you guys, or it's going to be some news going into this because it pertains to one of the matchups that occurred on a 205 Live. So you'll get a little news on here as well as my overall thoughts of both shows. And again, just my overall thoughts on professional wrestling in general. So I digress, folks. Let's get it started. Let's start it up with some 205 Live. Alrighty, let's get into 205 Live. Now, the opening contest of 205 Live this week was a matchup between TJP and Noam Dar. Before the matchup actually started, TJP ran down the crowd of Brooklyn and pretty much said he can't wait to go back to Los Angeles, California. Wale, the rapper you guys remember, rated R like Xavier Woods, he was the master of ceremonies behind the New Day Usos battle rap not too long ago. There's some news in regards to Wale because Mike Johnson reported of PWInsider.com what Wale appearing on WWE TV means for MLW, Major League Wrestling, which you see a lot of Impact talents in there like Sue Young, Rich Swann, Phoenix and Pentagon of Lucha Underground and Impact Wrestling. You see up-and-comers and great up-and-comers like MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman's there. A lot of great people are in that company. The current champion of that company right now is Low-Key, who you guys may remember in WWE as Kaval. He's been in Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling. So, yeah, it's a great promotion. They have a show coming October 4th in Queens, New York. But I digress. Let's talk about why Wale appearing on WWE TV means what it means for MLW. With hip-hop star Wale appearing on last night's edition of 205 Live, we got, PW Insider got several emails asking what this means for Major League Wrestling, which Wale has been associated with for a number of years. PW Insider was told that as of late, WWE has made overtures to talents and behind-the-scenes staffers who have been working for MLW, which are nationally being on beIN Sports, in attempts to bring them in. Wale being used last night wasn't a coincidence and was seen as an extension of these efforts. While everything is still up in the air, the odds of MLW running another WrestleMania event over WrestleMania weekend, which was the plan for next year in New York City, are not looking good at the moment. So WWE trying to get a lot of MLW people. So let's see how that progresses. And this was just, TJP and Noam Dar had a great match. I could have done without Wale's commentary. I know Wale actually has a song on, it's also that he's also there to promote WWE 2K19, which he has a song on the soundtrack. Just him calling him like JPW, TJ Maxx, and all that, whatever. This was another great matchup between TJP and Noam Dar. The uppercuts, it's much like their last encounter. TJP is working on the leg. It was really good. Nice back elbows, just these guys really worked well with each other. The finish comes where TJP hits a dragon screw, Dar with headbutts and a European uppercut, followed by a running European uppercut and a backdrop suplex. TJP goes for the detonation kick, but Noam Dar reverses. TJ with a La Magistra for a near fall. TJ with a knee, but Dar is able to get to the ropes to force TJP to release the hold. TJP with a single leg crab in the ropes. And then Dar finishes up with a running kick to the knees, and then the running kick, I'll call it the supernova kick, for the 1, 2, 3, and Noam Dar is your victor in the rubber match. I thought it was good. I like these two's chemistry. They work well together, and pretty much I'm just going to say right now I liked it. I thought it was was good for what it was. So Noam Dar gets the W in that particular matchup. Drew Gulak comments on his match on Sunday. Cedric Alexander did not prove he was the better man or the best cruiserweight. Drew says he is the best. Cedric threw a Hail Mary and got lucky. Drew says that Cedric should give him a rematch. Drake Maverick is asked about this and says that Drew's request is denied. Then we go to Akira Tozawa and Colin Delaney, who's back on 205. We've seen him in tag team action getting squashed by the Bludgeon Brothers. We remember him from the original, I shouldn't say original, but the WWE's version of the original ECW, WWE ECW as it was known. He was there. He was in Tommy Dreamer's corner. He helped out Tommy Dreamer. Then he turned heel. He was like the Mikey Whipwreck of the new WWE ECW. He was the ultimate underdog, if you will. He had matches with guys like Armando Estrada, etc., etc. So Colin Delaney, you may remember him from WWE's version of ECW. The match didn't even get underway because Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher come out and pretty much kill Tozawa and Delaney. Tozawa gets a headbutt from Jack Gallagher. And then Drew gets the mic. He tries to be reasonable, but until he gets his rematch, there will be no peace on 205 Live. Drew says he is not surprised that Cedric allowed Big Daddy Drake Maverick to do the talking for him because you are scared. Drew tells Cedric to come out to answer his challenge. Here comes Cedric. He says, how am I scared? But you're surrounded by Thing 1 and Thing 2. If they leave the ring, he will come down to shut you up. Drake Maverick tries to come in and tries to, get order restored. Drew quotes green eggs and ham, and then he sarcastically talks about the Age of Alexander. What is the Age of Alexander? Drew asks. If is that the best he's got? He says he's a lot better. Says he's better for 205 Live. Excuse me. He says that the Age of Alexander absolutely sucks. Drew wants to not know when did Cedric become a choir boy, and then Cedric and Drake, will put Cedric in timeout. What's going on here? And then Drew tells, Drake, not Drew. Oh, no, Drew, yeah. Oh, my God, I'm so sorry. Drew Gulak tells Brian and Jack to leave the ring, and Cedric makes his way to the ring, but the officials and Drake hold Cedric back. Drew says he knows why Cedric is scared, but Cedric gets into the ring, and Drew leaves the ring and leaves through the crowd. Cedric wants to know where Drew's going. So, obviously, the feud's going to continue. And I'm sorry there, guys. There's a lot of D's involved. Drake, Drew, yeah. So there you go. Lucha House Party getting ready for their matchup, and Tony Nese and Buddy Murphy getting ready. And we're already at the main event. Tony Nese and Buddy Murphy versus Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik in a tornado tag team matchup. My God, this was a great matchup. I mean, just the near falls, the tornado DDTs, just the spots that they did. I'm going to say, go out of your way to watch this match. One particular spot I'll mention, Grand Metalik and his mask comes off after he does it. He does the walking of the tightrope like primetime Elix Skipper did at Turning Point 2004 when Triple X fought AMW, and he does the walk across the cage with the Hurricane Rana. That's what kind of like what Grand Metalik did to Buddy Murphy under Tony Nese. It was just amazing. These guys really just gelled, and it really worked in their favor. The finish came where Grand Metalik sends Buddy Murphy back into the ring, and Metalik misses a springboard move. Murphy with a kick that sends Metalik to the floor. Murphy looks at Kalisto, who's next to Metalik, and then Murphy pushes Kalisto because he's like, let me check on him, let me help him out. So Buddy Murphy pushes him, being the bully, the heel that he is. Metalik with an inside cradle for a near fall, then Kalisto trips Buddy Murphy. It's no disqualification in Tornado Tag Team match here. And Metalik with a sunset flip roll up for the 1-2-3. Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik are your victors. It was an excellent match. For the two matches that we got here on NXT, I got to say both were good for what they needed to be. There was a lot of solid action because, with NXT this week, there's a lot of recaps from Takeover, and we see the comments that happened afterwards in the interviews. So for what we had this week, it was pretty good, coming off of Takeover and SummerSlam weekend. So what 205 Live did in Brooklyn was very, very good. The Tornado match was good. TJP and Noam Dar did their thing. Tozawa and Kondali never got into fruition, but that's what it needed to be to progress the Cedric Drew Gulak feud. So overall, solid edition of 205 Live. Go out of your way to watch the show, but really go out of your way to watch the main event, that is the Tornado Tag Team match between Murphy and Nese and the Lucha House Party. So that was your 205 Live for this week. And now let's get into NXT. Alrighty, let's get into NXT. The show opens from Brooklyn, New York, between the returning Bianca Belair and Mae Young Classic 2 competitor Deonna Purrazzo. This was a nice showing. It was a nice showcase of Deonna. We got to see her do a cartwheel and a drop kick, being the virtuosa that she is. She goes to apply the armbar. Bianca Belair's an amazing heel working on her, just grounding and pounding on her, getting a little cocky, misses a moonsault. These two really worked well together. I thought what they did was great. You know what? It was a nice return for Bianca Belair. It was great to see Deonna Purrazzo, because I've seen this girl back in New York. I remember seeing her live for a New York Wrestling Connection, the NYWC, which was 15 minutes from my house. I remember seeing her in WWE as a part of the Rosebuds and working very casually in NXT, much like a la Santana Garrett. Ring of Honor, obviously, in the Women of Honor division. I've seen her on Impact last year when it was GFW Impact. So, I mean, the girl's an amazing talent. Bianca Belair is just, for a girl who's been in the business for a short time like she has, and, we really got a taste of her in the Mae Young Classic, the inaugural one. My God, that girl's going to be a key player. And personally, if I'm being honest with you, because I know we're going to get that Shayna-Kairi Sane rematch in the near future, I want to see Bianca Belair challenge Kairi Sane, because they've had a great match in the Mae Young Classic, and I think they will deliver on a big stage, that is, NXT TakeOver, for a future TakeOver, that is. So it was a good match. I mean, the finish came where she was going for the Fujiwara armbar, like I mentioned, that being Deonna Purrazzo, but Belair gets back to her feet and she sends Deonna into the ring post, and then Bianca Belair hits a sit-out gut buster, and then we get the burning hammer, the torture rack into the sit-out gut buster, face buster, whatever you want to call it, the burning hammer for the 1, 2, 3. Bianca Belair is your winner. Again, it's a matchup that really showcased Deonna for the great talent that she is, and Bianca Belair in her return match. So there you go. We see footage from EC3 and Velveteen Dream. Velveteen Dream was interviewed after the victory. Dream puts his crown on Queen Kathy and asks what is she doing on Wednesday night. He says that since she is not doing anything, she can get on the WWE Network at 8 p.m. and find out like everyone else. EC3 was asked about his match against Velveteen Dream. EC3 says that it's a clash of personalities, but they are seeking the same thing. Tonight, Dream was the better man. EC3 says that he is here for victory after victory and after victory, not a loss. He's about a mindset. It is win at all costs. It's not over. It's not over until he wins. This is the top 1% mindset. Then Mike Rome asks EC3 about the attack on Aleister Black. EC3 says it was dark, and he saw chaos and bedlam. He says it was hard to wrap his head around everything. EC3 says it's almost simple that a 6'5", over 300-pound monster with a busted jaw was standing right there. Lars Sullivan was at the scene of the crime. EC3 says if he got his jaw broken by Aleister Black, he might get in a cheap shot. So he's insinuating that Lars Sullivan was the one that took out Aleister Black. Then we come back with a video package of the Undisputed Era's matchups. We saw a video package between Undisputed Era and Mustache Mountain in our match, where the Undisputed Era retained, and Adam Cole and Ricochet, where Adam Cole lost his North American Championship to Ricochet. After that, we see Ricochet was asked about his victory over Adam Cole. He says that he has a wide range of emotions because this was 15 years of hard work to get there. Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly stopped by, pretty much to say, we're not going to let you talk about our man Adam Cole like that. Pete Dunne comes in and says, do we have a problem? And then Kyle and Roderick say they have to go do something else and pretty much say, you guys act like your best friends. And then Ricochet thanks Pete for helping him out. He goes, thanks, mate. But Pete says, I'm not your mate. But then he tells Ricochet that he has a piece of leather that he wants. And personally, I want to see Pete Dunne and Ricochet for the North American Championship. And I'll tell you why. Pete Dunne is the current reigning defending UK champion. That would be a huge history and a huge coup, if you will, to have Pete Dunne as the UK champion and Pete Dunne, as the NXT North American champion at the same time. I think that would be a huge coup and just making history as far as NXT goes. So that would be cool, but I definitely want to see a Pete Dunne Ricochet matchup. And I'll just spoil this later on. We are going to get next week, we're going to get a tag team matchup due to that confrontation. The Undisputed Era's Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly versus Pete Dunne and Ricochet next week on NXT. Take a look of enhanced footage from the attack on Aleister Black, and Nikki Cross was on the roof watching the whole thing. So Nikki Cross is now a suspect. Then we see Zach Gibson get ready for the match. We have a video package that we saw from the UK Tournament 2, highlighting Zach Gibson, who he is and what he's all about. Then we get a highlight for the NXT Women's Championship match between Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler, where Kairi Sane was victorious. Then Shayna was interviewed after the match, and she had the 4 horsewomen with her. She says that Kyrie did not beat her tonight. She lost. Kyrie Skill did not win. She lost. Shayna says that she's a better fighter, and then she walks away with Marina, Jessamine, and Ronda. So, there you go. We take a look at the men's matchup between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. A nice little highlight package there. And we take a look back at the debuting King of Bros, Matt Riddle, at Takeover in the crowd. So we'll see Matt Riddle on NXT Takeover very, very soon. And the aforementioned matchup that I mentioned. Next week, we are going to get the Undisputed Era versus Ricochet and Pete Dunne in Tag Team Action Playa. That brings us to our main event. Another show this week that had 2 matches. Pete Dunne versus Zach Gibson for the WWE United Kingdom Championship in a rematch from the UK tournament. This was just great. These guys, I mean, there was one point where they were both in like a Boston Crab, and they're hitting each other, they're smacking each other, uppercuts, working on the fingers, just the whole 9. Zach Gibson gets him, in his submission maneuver. It's just absolutely amazing. It's absolutely just what they did. What we saw at the UK tournament, what we saw here, both was just absolutely amazing. And I'm not going to lie, I totally forgot the name of what Zach Gibson's, alright, what the hell was Zach Gibson's finishing move? Oh my god, that's really going to bug me now. We'll get to that in a second. But again, I'll describe the matchup. It's your basic British strong style, if you will. It was just great from top to bottom. Just submission after submission. The middle rope code breaker that he did, then the code breaker in the middle of the ring that Zach Gibson did. And excuse me, I'm going to do it, folks. Don't waste water. Excuse me. What he did with those code breakers, Zach Gibson. Oh my god, just intense. The dude just has the tools, and I look forward to seeing where he goes. It just is good. You know what I'm saying? He's a fan of the Beatles. He did the submission move, which I still can't remember the name of the damn finishing move. The Shankly Gates. Thank you. Oh my god, I had to look that up. Thank you. The Shankly Gates. I was drawing a blank on that damn move, and I love that move. That's a great move, and it's very Beatles-esque. I know he's a big fan of the Beatles. So, anyway, I digress, folks. It's late, so forgive me. Pete Dunne and Zach Gibson, great matchup. It was just, I really can't describe it. This is another one. If you want to see anything on NXT this week, Bianca Belair and Deonna Purrazzo did their thing. But for both shows, go out of your way to watch. It's kind of tough because there was a lot of video packages involved, and there was only 2 matches on the show, So go out of your way to watch the Tornado Tag match on 205, and go out of your way to watch Pete Dunne and Zach Gibson. They beat the crap out of each other. So, as I was saying, Zach Gibson had him in the Shankly Gates. What's great about that sequence is Pete Dunne doesn't even put his hands on because he can't. He puts his mouth around the rope to force the break. It was just great from top to bottom. And then the finishing sequences, Zach Gibson stomps on the back while Dunne still had his teeth on the ropes. Gibson with more kicks. Dunne looks for his mouth guard and he gets it, but Gibson stands on his hand. Gibson with a clothesline. Gibson grabs Dunne's mouthpiece and his mouth guard, and he wants to throw it into the crowd, but Dunne stops him, works on the fingers, hits the pump handle flatliner that's known as the bitter end. For the 1-2-3, Pete Dunne is still your United Kingdom champion. It was great. That's really all I can say. It was really, really good. And I apologize for having a brain fart because I totally forgot the name of the submission. So anyway, just a great solid action of shows this week. Go out of your way for both shows to watch them, but please watch the main event of both shows, the Tornado Tag match on 205 and the UK Championship matchup on NXT. Great matches. 205, I don't know what's going on next week because I really didn't say what's going on next week. All I know is we're going to get the ongoing saga with Cedric Alexander and Drew Gulak coming next week. We're going to get a lot more as far as, that goes. We're probably going to see more in the Lucha House Party, Nice and Buddy Murphy feud, so there's that, and TJP and Noam Dar. Let's see where that goes. As far as NXT goes, we have a lot, to go forward with. The Aleister Black saga, who attacked him, Undisputed Era, and against Pete Dunne and Ricochet next week is going to be really good, so that, progresses there. It's going to be a good week for NXT next week, and this is where we close at episode 9 of The Future Is Now. Watch both main events. I'm going to go to bed. I'll talk to you guys next week for episode 10. God bless, my friends. Check out RWT on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, the whole 9. Just thank you guys as always for listening. And I hope you guys enjoyed Takeover, and I hope you guys enjoyed SummerSlam this past week. The next pay-per-view that we have coming up is WWE Hell in a Cell on September 16th. And one match has been announced already, that being Daniel Bryan and The Miz versus the Daniel Bryan and The Miz. Oh my God. Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella versus The Miz and Maurice. Man, I'm tired. Okay. I'm going to shut up now. So, again, thank you guys so much. The mixed tag match at Hell in a Cell is going to be good. All In. If next week is All In, highlighted by Cody Rhodes versus Nick Aldis, aka Magnus, for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. That's next Saturday night. Just enjoy professional wrestling. I'll be back next week with NXT and more 205 Live for the Future Is Now. This will now officially conclude episode 9 of The Future Is Now. Just thank you guys so much. Everyone have a great night. Check out RWT, and the future is now. Good night, folks.